While we wait for others to join us, in the chat, please share your name, where you're joining from, and what type of brand you want to start. Okay, Reshma, I'm joining from London and I want to start a homewares brand. Hello. Anyone else want to share? Pranitha, I'm joining from Dallas, Texas, and I want to start a casual wear clothing brand. Okay. Um, for something like that, you're going to need to be a little more niche to become the next Revolve or Gap or Doen or any of these brands. The reality is when they're very broad in general, they have huge budgets, if not from themselves, from investors. And getting investment money is quite difficult. So I would try to niche down a lot more for your target customer. Amy from Sydney. I'm wanting to start a fashion brand for women who love colorful and fun clothing. Okay, that's a little bit more niche. So this is an example of something that's a little bit more niche than just casual wear. All right, let's Kelsey from Florida start a petite beachwear brand. Sahar from Toronto. I want to start a brand that has DIY elements to it. Could be clothing, but maybe also homewares. Okay, let's get started and just jump into the questions. Before I do, a couple of things. The first is, um, if your supplier, you could go away right now. I have a lot, there's always one supplier that joins the call and tries to DM everyone. If you are DM'd by someone who's like an undercover supplier, do not work with them. That is a huge red flag. And on that note, anyone that is sliding into your DMs, Facebook messaging you, reaching out to you, that's a really big red flag that you should not be working with them because they don't have a stable business. And if that's their business strategy, it's not a good one. So keep that in mind. Anyone that is approaching you for anything, like in my inbox, I get at least 100 emails a day of, hey, quick second. Hey, do you have a minute? Hey, quick question. One thing, Melanie. I noticed this, right? All those subject lines. And as soon as you like put up a website, people are going to bombard you with mail like that. They're no one that you want to work with. You always want to, if you're hiring someone for ads, for your manufacturing, for whatever it is, you want referrals, or you want to be finding them on your own, consuming, their content and what they put out and making your own decision. Sliding into the DMs, sliding into the inbox is the biggest red flag ever. So just keep that in mind if anyone approaches you during this, just be like, thanks, but no thanks. A lot of suppliers do, surprisingly, because I do have a very big audience that's dedicated to making apparel. So it's like exactly who they want to reach. So they do that. Okay. So let's just jump into everyone's questions. I think a lot of people that ask questions are not able to make it, but they're going to watch the recording, and the recording is for everyone to see because I think these questions, while they might not pertain to you exactly, are good for everyone who's starting a brand. All right, so let's go first. First, we have Lewis. Lewis, who told me all about their brand but didn't ask a question. And I followed up and I was hoping maybe you would be here, but it looks like you're not. So we're going to move on to the next one, which is Amy. Wants to start an elevated women's wear that is filled with bold colors and fun prints, a 50-piece manufacturing MOQ in China. That is very hard to get. My agency does do 50-piece MOQs at a very reasonable price, but generally what I'm seeing from people who are coming to me that are doing the whole Alibaba search is that their prices are about 2 to 3 times higher than what I have. And after they sample, they push for a 100-piece MOQ. They say they'll give you 50 and then they're like, no, I want 100 actually. So be very, very careful with who you are starting to work with, sample investing, right? Samples cost money, they cost time. So just be careful, because that's what I've been seeing with the whole China manufacturing thing. Total budget for your brand is 15K Australian. And should I be asking factories to sign NDAs? And if yes, at what stage in the process should they sign? After the quote has been agreed, before connecting production or samples. So if you want to protect your designs, you need copyrights for your prints, or you need some sort of patent for your design. Patents are only given for like technical things. You can't patent the wrap dress. That's why DVF invented it, even though she really didn't, but everyone can use it because that's not a patentable design. And patents are very easy to get around. Amazon sellers are experts at it. You change a few things, the next thing you know, it looks like what you made, but they've gotten around the patent. So it does slow down copycats. It does offer some authenticity. They're expensive. They're $10,000 generally, plus, all the lawyer fees and things like that. So that's what's going to protect you. An NDA, I've worked in fashion for 15 years, and I've worked with everyone, Disney, Nickelodeon, um, Marvel characters, which are part of Disney, Neely Loten, Polo, Rock and Republic, Abercrombie. I have worked with most of the industry, and in my entire career, I've signed exactly 2 NDAs. One NDA was for Frozen 2, and we all had to sign that, and it was super, super secret because Frozen 2 hadn't come out, and it was a huge, 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 huge moneymaker, that license. You have to have the license from Disney to produce Frozen 2. You can't just use characters that aren't yours, by the way. So we all had to sign NDAs that like we would not leak the new characters that were coming out for Frozen 2. The other NDA I had to sign was for Universal. They were opening a new ride in their theme park, and they didn't want anyone to know about it. And I was working on the uniforms. And if the uniforms had gotten out, then the ride would have been leaked. Everyone else has never asked for an NDA. So if like some of the biggest, most famous companies in the world never asked our teams to sign NDAs, I have to question why you think you need one. And the reason that they don't ask for NDAs is because they're very difficult to enforce. Anything legal that you do, you have to think, do I have the budget to enforce this? If someone steals your design, do you have the lawyer to hire to sue them for over a year? Most people don't. If your factory steals your design and your startup brand who's lost money because you haven't made anything from product development and everything else, do you have the budget to sue the factory? Probably not. And then what's the point of having the NDA? Plus, if you're working with international suppliers, lawsuits become very, very difficult. In India, it's 15 years on average, cases are in court. So, it's not about always, and I'm not telling you not to legally protect yourself. I'm just saying that in 15 years, it's only been asked of me twice for huge accounts that had multi-million-dollar implications if it was leak, maybe even billions. Frozen made so much money. So, that's kind of um, what my take is on that. I have a friend who's the only person who was ever able to successfully sue Walmart for copyright. It bankrupted her business. She almost went out of business. I think she still survived. It was years long, and she ended up winning when she didn't settle for them copying her designs. But that's a very rare case. There's only been one person who's ever beat Walmart. So just keep that in mind. I think more often than not, when you ask a supplier to sign an NDA, the first thing in our mind is this person is going to be difficult. I would rather work with a big brand who doesn't even ask me to do this than someone who has a budget of $10,000 instead of $100,000. I'd rather work with someone who's making 10,000 pieces instead of 10 pieces, and they're not going to give me this much headache. So, times have changed. I think people think that suppliers, they need our order. they're so poor, they don't have enough. There's more orders than to go around. Some factories have 3-month waiting lists, meaning you cannot get in and start developing with them until you wait 3 months in line. Those are the good ones. Not all of them, but some of them do. So, you just in general, you want to be as easy of a client as possible because, especially when you're starting out, because there's a lot of competition. There's so much competition. All right, so I think that answers that. It was a very good question, Amy, because I think it is something that everyone should be thinking about. And again, I'm not telling you not to legally protect yourself. I'm just saying, how are you going to enforce it? And I'm telling you from experience, all the products I've worked on, thousands and hundreds of thousands of products in my lifetime, 2 NDAs I've been asked to sign. I'm sorry,
Thank
2 NDAs
you.
from like real established brands I've been asked to sign. From small startups, I've been asked to sign hundreds. So there you go.
Thank you. That was such a good answer. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I think that the first interactions that you have with a factory are so important. They're going to determine everything from if they work with you or not to your pricing. If they like, I have conversations with factory owners all the time. If they for even a second think you don't know what you're doing, your pricing is doubled. That's why a lot of people work with me or other consultants because you're paying me my fees, but in the long run, I'm going to save you tens of thousands of dollars on your product. Um, it's not always this shirt costs $5 to make. This shirt costs $5 for you. For you, it's 50. And people see that all the time. I have a new client who they're being charged, what was it? Like $80 to make in China for something that I'm going to be able to get them for, I think, 15. No difference in quality, no th difference in ethics of labor. It was just purely the upcharge because the factory knew they had no clue what they were doing. So, starting off with an NDA is kind of an indicator that like you're a little bit clueless, especially if you're making very generic designs. Again, if you want to protect yourself, patent and copyright, that's for everyone. Okay. Next we have Dee Dee. Denise, looking to start a women's wear company. I know it's a very generic answer. It's because I have a lot of ideas and I want to do, but I haven't really honed in on what. Small MOQ, 50 to 100 pieces, fantastic. I'd love to do Turkey or USA, but I'm not opposed to looking into other options. 1 to 2K to start. So that is not a budget to start custom product. There is no way in the world, especially in the United States, on average, develop a pattern and a sample. This does not mean your production, just your pattern and your sample. The quotes we're seeing are $5,000. My agency, we start quotes made in the USA around 3,500. That again is just for your one pattern and one sample. That's what it costs to make. Production, you're looking at made in the USA, say like a dress, a simple dress, you're probably looking around $50 for cut and sew. That's not including fabric. All in, you're looking at 100 to 100 and, two, with your budget, $1,000. uh, Divide that by 50, you need product coming in at $20 made in America. That's just not going to happen. So I want to set you up with realistic expectations. The best way for you to get started would be, as you're saying here, blank and white label. The mass market is so saturated with fast fashion items and everything seems done. So how do you set yourself apart from competitors? It's really understanding your market. And I have a program. It's called the Fashion Startup Side Hustle for people like you who either just don't have the time or they don't want to invest all of their savings into starting a brand, which it is a little bit risky. But basically, we go over in that how to understand your customer. And it's like 2 weeks of fully understanding your customer. Because when you understand your customer, you can create that kind of product. And there are lots of examples, right? Set Active, they started with white label, meaning 100 other people bought what they bought, but somehow Set Active, they stood out and they became famous for selling generic product. Supreme, same thing. They were printing on blanks. Kith, same thing. Park, this new influencer brand, you can find the pajamas she's selling on Alibaba. It's not about the product, it's about how you connect with people. That's really the secret to white label. And here's the thing, if you can figure out how to connect with people with white label, blanks, print on demand, all of this, when you make custom product, it's going to be so much easier because you understand your customer and you have data. So That would be the secret to it, understanding them, understanding what they want, and creating that product. And yes, it can be knocked off. Yes, anyone could go on Alibaba and buy Parks pajama pants and it's gone viral and everyone knows how to do it, but no one does because that brand means something to them. So that's why they purchase from it. So it's really about consumer psychology when you're using blanks and all that type of stuff. It's not so much about the product. It is about the product, but it's about the psychology of why they're buying from you and understanding that and tapping into that. Okay, next we have Reshma, interior products business. Do you MMOQ? Do you need and where do you want 50 to 100 products, 2 parts to my product, inner and a cover? So that's 2 products. If your product is 2 pieces, a bikini, a top and a bottom, that's 2 pieces development. That's 2 patterns, that's 2 samples, that's 2 everything. A matching set, a top and a bottom. Oh, but they match? No, that's 2 pieces development. Everything is separate. That's how it works. It works by the garment. So you would be having, those would be charged separately by your factory or whoever you have doing this, making one or the other in India or the UK. Right now, I used to say that small startups start locally. The way things are right now, the numbers aren't working out. To make 10 pieces or 25 pieces domestically in New York, in California, in the UK, it is not it's so expensive that it makes more sense to make 50 to 100 pieces in India, in China. And then with those extra pieces that you're nervous about selling, you can use them for marketing. You can use them for giving to influencers, having giveaways, events, things like that, celebrity gifting, all that type of stuff. So, I would say over the UK, probably your best bet is going to be making in India and making a little bit more. Your total budget, 12,000, that's fine. Again, with 12,000, I would make in India. For me, we charge for India product development, so sourcing fabric, sample, pattern, grading, second sample with revisions, pattern revisions, all of that. We charge 2,800 per style. That's for made in India and made in China. And that's kind of the general growing rate to give you an idea, which is a lot for a budget of $12,000. So I would probably recommend trying to DIY it. Maybe consider taking the Launch My Conscious Line program, which is different than the Fashion Startup Hustle. That's for people who want to the fashion startup side hustle is for people who are using blanks and have very low budgets. The people that are taking Launch My Conscious Line, it's more for people who want to do custom products, still have low budgets, but they want to do it all themselves. So I give you suppliers, I teach you how to reach out to them, I give you the factories, all of that. This way you're not getting burned. I would be very, very careful with who you work with in India. Notorious for, products coming out poorly, people getting ripped off, all of that. I think there's a reason that like half the people in my DMs are actually in India, living in India, and they're still asking for my help because it's a very difficult industry to navigate. So just be careful with that. Again, with a 12, and I'm telling you this because with a 12,000 pound dollar, whatever budget, one mistake, one wrong factory, there goes your entire budget, there goes your brand. You cannot afford to make mistakes. So be very, very careful. If you told me your budget was $100,000, I'd say, okay, like if you mess up once, like you have enough in your budget to do it again. It's not the end of the world. But with a budget of 12,000, you need to be very careful with everything that it is that you're doing, who you're hiring, who you're working with, where you're spending your time, and where you're spending your money. Okay, what's the total budget? We had that, and then primary understanding working with manufacturers. That's a very broad question that we can't get into, and the lead time shipping to the UK if the manufacturer is located in India. So that's going to depend on a lot of different things. One will be holidays. Before Christmas, that's when a lot of people are shipping things. Things tend to be delayed and more expensive. Pricing for shipping is not stagnant. It fluctuates through the year depending on natural disasters, pirates, whatever is happening in the world. That will fluctuate your pricing and your lead times. So you will get something. I mean, I ship by air a lot of product. We get it in 2 days. You could also ship by boat, and it could take up to 3 months, depending on whatever issues they come across at sea. So the other thing with sea is always get insurance for all of your shipping because I know people, there was a capsized shipping boat a couple years back, and I know people who had their containers on that boat. They lost hundreds of thousands of product when the ship went down. So no, I'm not saying not to do shipping. I'm just sea shipping. I'm just saying always get insurance. Don't always go for the cheapest option, because it can sometimes come back to bite you. All right, next we have Danielle. Maximalist capsule wardrobe. I think the capsule wardrobe idea is great, but the beige and black from Banana Republic and they're the Gap. So that's what I like to investigate. So yeah, here's the thing. If you have a bold Hawaiian print, hot pink, neon green, you can't have a capsule wardrobe with that because that is the piece that your eye goes to. That's why everything is beige. That's why everything is black. Because if you wear the same black pants every day to work, but you change your top, no one's going to notice. If you wear the same Hawaiian shirt every day to work, you better believe people are going to notice. So if bold prints are not a capsule wardrobe. Now you can create a capsule wardrobe with bold prints that mix into it, so maybe you create prints that have, can go with multiple colorways that people have in their closet, and you add them in as pops to the capsules they already have. I think that would be a better idea than creating a capsule of prints because those are attention pieces. Some prints are literally called conversational prints. They're meant to draw the eye, they're meant to get attention. Now, if you're doing just like textures, but then you're getting back into beige, right? White on whites and blacks on blacks and blacks on grays and blues on light blues and things like that. You're back in that world. So I would maybe look at like what everyone has in their closet, right? Everyone has jeans, everyone probably has whatever, people wear. What can you create that will add some personality to the capsule wardrobe they already have? And most people are already dressing in capsule wardrobes. They just don't realize it. I'm sure if you look in your closet, you probably have some sort of like uniform pieces that you wear a lot. So that's where I would go with that. Okay, next we have Eileen. Philadelphia. No. Oh, doctor's appointment has to cancel, but didn't leave a question. Okay, sorry, here it is. Pickleball apparel for women. In the process of starting your brand, I have a website put together with a pretty comprehensive accumulation of my ideas, sample pictures, and all the technical aspects of the apparel. Okay, that's good. I'm at the point where I'm looking to get patterns produced and go into production. I have not done this before, and there are all sorts of companies out there that say they can walk you through the process. It's overwhelming to know what it is and isn't a reasonable amount to spend. So I just went through some costs before on these various phases, either on your own or with a company, from pattern development, sourcing fabric, making samples with revision, mentoring, manufacturing with small runs for proof of concept, branding, marketing. Yeah, so I went through some prices before. Those hold true. On average, if you're trying to make a pattern in a sample in the United States, we're looking around like 5,000, 5,500. I personally charge 3,500. I'm on the lower end of average in the United States for domestic and for overseas. I charge 3,800 per style. I know someone who's charging like eight out in LA to manufacture in China for people. So you really have to go around and talk with people. Again, I would not bargain shop necessarily because sometimes what you get is what you pay for, and people aren't charging a lot for a reason. I'm not telling you where to source fabrics in India. That's information I only give to my clients. I spent 15 years finding some of the best suppliers in the world, and that is not something I share with everyone. I have been like tooth and nail in random places and really earned those contacts. So those are not available for free. That's it. Anyway, back to this question. I think, at the end of the day, you have to do what's also right for you. That's why I also offer so many different options. If you're busy and you have the budget and you want someone to do everything for you, it's going to be a lot more money. But if you want to just do it yourself and learn from a mentor, it's going to be a lot cheaper. So you have to look at yourself as well and what it is that you need and what you want to invest in. And that answer is different for everyone. The only thing I can tell you is protect yourselves, get references. There is so much shady stuff happening in manufacturing right now. My favorite are the tech bros. They've run out of crypto money, so now they're all taking flights to Guangzhou, taking pictures at the market and pretending they're manufacturing experts. Anyone can go to that market. You can get on a plane and go to that market if you want. Do not trust those kinds of people. You want people who are in factories with like long-standing careers to help you. A lot of the bros are also going to the trade shows, right? Premier Vision, Tex World, those are open to the public. If you see people, there's one guy in Canada who goes to every trade show. Maybe you've come across him. If you see people only at trade shows, they are not industry professionals. They are people who are influencers, who are hoping to make a quick buck because they understand that manufacturing is so difficult and so hard. And if you just know this much more than the average person, you sound like a genius. To me, they sound like idiots. But to the average person who has no idea how any of this works, they sound really smart. So two things to look out for: anyone creating Guangzhou content, anyone who's in any sort of public market and that is their content, avoid. And that I think will get you really far because right now my feed is flooded with people traveling to Magic. Now all of a sudden they're an expert. They'll take your orders. They met a few suppliers. Oh yeah, we're in business. Absolutely not. The reason I am able to do so well with my clients, and I have some clients that have been with me for a decade now, is because of my relationships with those factories. I didn't go to markets and say, "Oh, great, let's put some big orders in." That's not how it works. You have, years, some of my suppliers, 15 years I've been working with them. That's the relationship that you want if you do hire someone to have. So be very careful with what this person did. There was another girl who she stole my whole website years ago, like word for word verbatim. She worked in tech. She had no business working in fashion, but she sounded very official because she stole all my stuff. So just be careful, get on LinkedIn, look at their LinkedIn, see what their past jobs were, make sure that they're in this industry. And that's going to, I can't tell you who to hire and who not to hire, but I think that's going to put you, those clues of what to look for are going to put you well ahead of a lot of people. Okay. Good question though, because I think, this past month alone, I've taken on 4 new private clients, not coaching students, and all of them have come to me because they lied to them. They told them that they could manufacture things, but they couldn't manufacture them. They gave one price and now there's a new price, like all these headaches that they should not be going through because it really has become the Wild West manufacturing. So just really, really do your homework and research these people that you're working with. Okay. Um, Jord Jandria. Now, Jandria was very rude and isn't showing up, but I want to share her question because I think it is a great learning moment for everyone. So she basically told me she wanted to start a swimwear brand for flat-chested women, 60 pieces made in Brazil, $120,000 budget. Her question was then, how do you or where do you seek out investors for a clothing brand? And I said, Jandrea, why do you need investors? You have $120,000. That is more than enough because at the end of the day, I've helped people start brands with as little as $1,000. If you take the fashion startup side hustle, basically the $500 for the program and $500 for your product. You don't need a huge budget to get started. So if you have $120,000, one, I would tell you never to spend that much as a startup. You're spending 25. That's it. And then we're going to test, we're going to see, we're going to do all the things, and then we're going to invest more safely. Just because you have the money, I don't care if you're a billionaire, I don't think anyone should be wasting money. There's a way of doing things. And the fact of the matter is, every single established, successful company on the planet tests before they invest. They do something called a test order. For Walmart, instead of 1 million pieces, it was 10,000 pieces. And they put those 10,000 pieces in their top 100 stores. They would then wait and they would see how they sold. If they sold well, we get the $1 million order, not $1 million, 1 million piece order, much more than $1 million. And if they didn't do well, well, that was the end of it. They only got 10,000 pieces for Walmart. That's nothing, right? They're ordering 1 million pieces. 10,000 is nothing. Okay, they didn't lose much money. Everyone does this. Everyone makes purchasing decisions based on behavior. Now, if you notice butter yellow is just another version of lilac that was big from 2020 because it didn't sell to basically last year in 2024. Butter yellow is kind of in that same realm, right? Next, we're probably going to see a sherbet orange, mint green, right? Because we know these pastels are moving. So trends are not even based on like, in forward facing to the public. It's very, oh, I love this. It's so beautiful, chic, whatever. No, that's not how decisions are made in fashion. They're made through data. They're made on how customers are responding. So, even if you have a huge budget, I would never let you invest all of it because we need to test and we need to learn, right? Walmart's got all the money in the world and even they're doing this strategy. So it's a strategy and it's a strategy you need to do. So then I asked Regina, I said, well, why do you need investors if you got 120K? This sounds crazy to me. She said, I never said I had 120K. You simply asked what my budget was. That could mean several things. For me, it is the estimated budget to get my brand started. Now, then she got really rude, and we don't have to get into the tea. She just was a complete. So, the reason I'm sharing this is because your budget is what you have in the bank and you want to spend. Your budget is not, well, maybe my husband's brother's friend will give me 10K, or maybe this, or maybe that. Your budget is whatever you have. That's it. And that can be scary because people think they need a lot of money to start their brand, but you don't. Like I said, you can start small, you can test, you can scale, you can get credibility. Now, finding investors, everyone has an idea. I have like 5 ideas for really good brands a day that I know could work because I'm in the industry. I can't go out to VC firms and just pitch my ideas. They want to see data, even if it's a small sampling, even if you just made samples, sold out, you're proving to them you have the manufacturing, you're proving to them you have the commitment. A lot of people have ideas, but they never follow through. Most people, everyone here probably, because none of you have started a brand yet and you're here wanting to, but you haven't, right? So a lot of people don't follow through, which is why investors never invest in ideas. Um, and they want to see that your idea is a good one, that someone purchased it. If you make a bunch of samples and you can't move them, why are they giving you $120,000? Right? If you can't sell one. So even if it's just one piece, 25 pieces, 50 pieces, you can do a 50-piece MOQ, 3 styles for 10K. And that's great to test and show. So this is why I'm saying this. It's because one, if you're looking for investors, you're never going to find them because no one's giving money to people with ideas. So you have to figure out a way that you can start your brand with whatever it is you have. And maybe that's not how you envision it. Maybe that's not your end goal, but you've got to start with something. You've got to start building an audience. You've got to start selling. You've got to start generating cash. You've got to save that cash. That isn't vacation money that you make on your t-shirts. That is money that goes back into your business. So make sure that you are working realistically. And maybe down the line, once you have data, once you have experience, once you have sales, then you can raise money. But right now you can't. So everyone needs to, this is what everyone needs to hear, I think. Take a good, hard look at your financials and decide whatever it is that you can commit to it and just start doing it. Be careful. Research, like I said, make sure you know who you're working with and what you're doing. Don't waste your money, but just work within whatever parameters you have. That's your budget. Your MOQ, when you talk to factories, isn't your MOQ that you want to have. It's the MOQ that you can afford with your budget. If you tell a factory my MOQ is 100 pieces and then you only want to order 25 after you sample and spend that $3,000 making your sample, making your patterns, making your sourcing, doing all the things, they might say, well, no, thank you. We're not making anything less than 100. So that's the other thing. A lot of people often lie to suppliers about how much they have, fake it till you make it. That is a terrible strategy that will only leave you with nothing, basically. And if they do work with you, they're going to jack up your price so high. And if they don't jack up your price so high, you're going to be so low down on that priority list. I know people, it's taken them a year and a half to get their production. That should have taken 3 months. So don't play games with people. Figure out what it is that you can afford, accept it, and then create a plan to start and a plan to grow to get to where you want to be. All right. And the last question is from Karen, or Kimmy, Karen in the email, Kimmy in the body of the email, from Colombia, wants to start a resort wear brand, looking for an MOQ. I'm really a beginner. I never did this before, so I'm starting from zero. I'm not sure about the MOQ, but it's one thing I want to learn. So the MOQ, again, will be dependent on your budget. I want to plan when I ask for the budget, I want to plan and structure everything and analyze how much I need. And depending on that, I'll make a decision on my budget. No, you won't, because I can give you a plan where you need $1 million. I can also give you a plan where you only need 1,000. So you're not gonna, you're working in a circle that will never end when you're saying, oh, I'll figure out my budget when I figure out everything else. You start with the budget, you start with the ending, and then you work your way back and you do whatever it is that you need to do to make that budget work. It's not the other way around. If you try to go this way, you won't go this way. You'll go this way in a circle, in a spiral down until you get frustrated and you never start your brand. So you need to decide your budget. If you take anything away from that, that's what this is. Now, what is the minimum amount of product I need to start with? How many designs should I have and how many units per size? Doesn't matter. As long as you know your customer, that's what matters. You know, Moleskine, one notebook, Crocs, one shoe, Spanx, one pair of underwear that sucked you in. That's how they all started, with one thing. Then you have people who launch, 50 dresses down a runway, and they do okay too sometimes. Sometimes they don't. It depends on your budget. It depends on you. It depends on your customer. It depends on all of that. There is no right answer to that. And everyone wants this equation where I'll spend X amount of dollars, I'll make X amount of products, and I'll be X amount successful. And that is not guaranteed. Research, data, making decisions that keep your brand safe, making decisions that are based on knowing your customer, that's what keeps your brand safe. That's the magic formula. The magic formula is work and understanding and being completely entrenched in whatever it is you're making and who you're selling to. Danielle says VCs are not really interested in investing in manufacturing at this point in my experience. They would have 4 years ago, but with measurable and exceptional traction and profits. Yeah, I mean, you can do friends and family. I know people who are doing that, but friends and family are probably not going to invest in your idea. They want to see something. If someone came to you and they're like, I have an idea, you probably wouldn't give them money. If someone came to you, they said, I have an idea, I took $500, I made these shirts, they all sold out, I want to grow and scale, this is what I need, this is the plan, your chances of getting money are higher. They're still low, but they're higher that way. So yeah, it seems like the general takeaway from this is a lot of budgeting, which is interesting because this time last year, all anyone wanted was suppliers, suppliers, suppliers. Give me all your suppliers. And it really feels like this year it's all coming back to budgeting, which again is probably an indicator of the state of the economy right now. It's not good. So let's talk about that before we go, because that was the last question. And when it comes to that, for me, I see this as a positive. I'm watching my competitors close down. Now I'm the only game in town. This is a good thing, right? Less competition. While business in general is slower, there's less competition. The people who are around now during the slow period are the people that are going to be remembered when everyone starts spending again. The recession, the economy is cyclical. It goes up and down. That's normal. Now, when people do is they give up during the down. And then when everything's high, everyone's starting brands. We've all got swimwear brands. We've all got athleisure brands. We're all making stuff. But then there's a ton of competition. Now, if you've been just slowly, stably growing your business during the downtime, when everything booms, you're the first person people are purchasing from. They're not purchasing from those new people. They're purchasing from the old people that they've been following and loving their product for, but maybe couldn't afford. That's the reality of it. Brands are made during recessions. They're not made during booms. You see all the headlines during a boom of this brand sold out $1 million in 2 minutes or whatever, but that's not the reality of it. The reality of it is all the work before. No, I don't think it's a bad time to begin. A great example is Clarice. She just launched her lingerie brand, and within 1 week, she's already opened her first wholesale account. She's already sold out of no, I'm sorry, she hasn't sold out. She's already broken even on her product and her product development, and she's only less than halfway through her stock. So, and this is someone who just launched, a week ago. Another great example, if you read the emails, Fridays for Millie, she sold, I think, 40,000 in one day. of product on launch day. But that wasn't a coincidence. That was 2 years of customer research, deep relationship building, deep um, creating a community. So people are doing really, really well right now. But the people that are doing really well are the people who are or have done the research and done the time and didn't just slap something together. They're the people, oh, I'm just going to wholesale. Oh, I'm just going to run Facebook ads. Oh, I'm just gonna. You're not. You're not. Facebook ads are not profitable these days. They lose people money. A wholesale account isn't just going to take you because you think your idea is good. There's a strategy behind getting into retails, boutiques, stores, Nordstrom, places like that. And that's what you need to know. So, yeah, I mean, is it hard right now? Absolutely. But but not for everyone. It's not hard for the people who are coming in with a strategy. It's hard for the people who are just like, I'm going to drop ship, right? Remember that whole fad? Like there was a lot of quick money being made in the past 5 years. That's no more. The quick money's done. The hard money is still left on the table where you have to know and research and do all the things right. But for sure, we have a lot of people that are doing really well. Rosie from Hawaii, she's still doing great. She's got lines around the corner for her brand. It's incredible what she built. Like things are still good for people. But they're not people who are flying by the seat of their pants. They're people who are using strategy. Um, Okay, so that being said, let's do the giveaway. We're doing 50% off for the Launch My Conscious Line program, which is 3 months. You get a whole slew of lessons that teach you everything from your niche, your marketing, your suppliers. I give you suppliers, all that type of Facebook, Instagram, building a website correctly. All the things are in that. Plus, we do one time a week live calls like this. The live calls are a lot more fun though, because I actually get to know you. So we actually get to have a conversation and discuss things. And it's not just me talking at you. Because, there's a relationship that gets built and it's more of a interactive session. And then you also get access to the WhatsApp group, which is other people who are starting brands and me, and you can ask me all your questions in there whenever you want. And I generally respond within 15 minutes if I'm awake. That's super helpful because it allows you to get unstuck and not have to wait for the live calls. Oh, I'm talking to a supplier. What should I say? Boom, boom, boom. I tell you, right? So you're moving forward and you're not wasting time. Most people continue to stay with me. 1/4 of everyone who's ever worked with me continues to. I have something called a membership, which is $200 a month, and basically you get goal setting and all these other different things. But 1/4 of my students decide to stay on. It's expensive, but they decide to stay on because the coaching and the accountability are so worth it to them. So, hey, Jacob, I'm not taking any questions. You had to pre-submit. I'm really firm on that. So, that's that. And, for margins, again, that's based on your brand. I can't get into your financials and direct to consumer. I would not go to, oh, this I'll mention though to everyone. D2C is dead. That was dramatic. But D2C is not a strategy. You need to be omni-channel. You need to be in retailers. You need to be in wholesale. You need to be selling direct to customer. You need to be everywhere these days. And most people are finding that when they go through their budgeting, the biggest profits are coming from wholesale, which no one wants to do. I make a shirt for 100, I make a shirt for 25, I sell it for 100, I get to make $75 direct to customer. With wholesale, you make a shirt for 25, you sell it for 100, then you then have to sell it to the brand for 50, you're only making 25. Why would I make $25 when I can make 75? Well, because your Facebook ads are costing you 80. That's the reality of kind of how these things are going right now. Um, Retail's not dead because of Amazon. Absolutely not. So again, the things that you see on Instagram, they are clickbait. The things that you see on what I call YouTube University, they are clickbait. They are created to get you to enroll in programs. They are created to get you to watch, to follow, to like. They're created to monetize those platforms. That's not real information. That's stuff that gets you hyped and oh yeah, look at them. They're in the Maldives. They're making $1,000 a day. Let's do it. That is not reality. Those are lies. And if you take anything away from that, understand that like starting a brand is really hard work. It's great. You set your own schedule. It's creative. It's super fun. You meet a lot of cool people. There's so many positives to it, but don't for a second think it's not work because it is. Everything in life is work. Anyway, back to the program. So one person, it's 3,750. One person is going to get 50% off. If you want to be entered in the raffle, just raise your hand or yeah, raise your hand and I will add you to the list and we'll do it right away. I'm also going to put the payment link in the group chat so everybody has it. There we go. Okay, anyone else want to join the raffle? Okay, let's write everyone down. We're going to put it into ChatGPT and have them choose something random. Okay. In the comments, we have Renitha, Kimmy, Maggie. It's fine, Pranitha, I got you. I'm going through the comments too. Kelsey, Reshma, Sahar, Denise. Is there anyone, Ami, Bianca, Danielle, Jacob? I don't have. And then Maggie, I already have. Pranitha, I already have. Rebecca, I don't have. See here, I have. Okay, ready? Choose one person at random. And the winner is Kelsey. All right, Kelsey, please email me your email so I can give you your special code. For everyone else, I have a code for a discount if you want. It's only good until tonight. It is for, hold on, let me just grab it for you. The code is summer. Actually, let me double check that. The code is summer 25 AMA and it's going to give you $500 off. So here it is, summer AMA 25, and that will give you $500 off. After that, back up to 3,750. So you can get it for 3,250. That's the cheapest it's going to be forever. It's not like I know a lot of people do this like fake, like, oh, it's your last chance. Then tomorrow, oh, just kidding. Now's your last chance. I'm very strict with the discounts. I think it's important to create that type of trust with clients where I'm not like every day's a fake discount day, right? Creating fake um, or manufactured um, like manufactured limited time offers. When you're shopping for airlines and you see only 3 seats left, that's fake. When you're on Airbnb, there are apps that people put in and they track what you're looking at and they'll tell, oh, only one room left. No, because then you go on booking.com and there's like 5 rooms left. Because they don't talk to each other, the apps. But that is manufactured, just so you all know. It's manufactured to make you press buy immediately. Yeah, exactly. The one seat left for flights is stressful. Exactly. It's meant to make you not price shop. Instead of saying, oh, I'm going to wait till tomorrow, see if this goes down, or I'm going to wait till a better time. Oh, I got to get this one seat. It's all that's left. It's a psychological tool that they use and it's fake. And I don't do that to people. That's why my sales are the sales and that's it. Tonight, the $500 ends. Reshma just put it in. She said it's not working. Summer AMA 25, the code is invalid. Hold on. Let me help you. I'm just gonna delete this and make it again. All right, let's see. Summer AMA 25. Okay. Do me a favor, can you try again? And I'm gonna try on my end. Um, Something went wrong, please try again. All right, I got one more thing to try. I don't know why this isn't, it could just be a problem with Stripe.
Melanie, it's working right now.
Oh no, I just deleted it. Ah, oh no,
Sorry.
no.
Yeah, it started working again. Okay.
All right, hold on. Summer AMA 25. That's what I said, right? Maybe it just didn't have time to. Don't press anything yet because it's definitely deleted from my end. Okay. All right. Is it working now? Okay, it's working for me. There we go. Summer AMA 25, $500 off. It's working now. Okay. Awesome. All right. Kelsey, again, please make sure to email me with all of your contact info so I can send you a private link for your discount. Everyone else, good questions. Really, my goal for these free calls is I can't give you a plan. I don't know you well enough to tell you what's right for you and your business because all this information is very individualized. If you do decide to work with someone, like don't buy like Udemy courses or anything like that because the right answer is different for everyone. Yes, you always make a sample. Yes, there's always a pattern. Yes, those things are always true. But what's right for, Reshma is not going to be what's right for Sahar, which is not going to be what's right for Kimmy. And that's the part that's going to make or break you. So if you are getting advice, make sure you get it from someone who knows you and your brand and can help you make decisions for yourself. My goal for these calls is just to prevent people from wasting money. It's also to prevent because it's very easy to waste money in this industry. It's very easy to throw money away on bad investments, hopes and prayers, people that promise you the world. So that's one of my goals of these calls. My other goal is to kind of get people on thinking on some sort of way that, okay, like the dream is this. That's not happening anytime soon. Where can we start here and how can we grow it to get to here? Maybe this is 5 years, maybe this is 3 years, 10 years. I don't know. No one starts here. And like I mentioned, all of those we sold out in 24 hours. They failed 10 times before. They just didn't tell you about it. Now they're bragging about their success. So don't think that this just happens because it doesn't. The most successful people, you start small and you scale and you work your way up strategically. That is the best advice I can give you. It's realistic. It's also it's impossible to take on a project like this. My goal is to get you to do something, anything to get moving, to making your dream come true, instead of just, thinking about it. Okay. So here, I appreciate this approach. Thank you, Melanie, for your time. This was so helpful. Thank you. See you in the course. Danielle, thanks, Melanie, for all the information. All right, wonderful. I'm glad everyone enjoyed it. Hopefully, I'll see you soon. It sounds like, Reshma, I'm going to see you in the program. Very excited to start working with you. And, like I said, now we'll really be able to get into you, your brand, and give you advice that's really tailored to you specifically and your success. And that's it from me. All right. Good luck, everyone. And please stay in touch. I will hopefully see you in emails or Substack or Instagram or wherever. All right. Bye.